Alright guys, so let's delve into the Slumber Party Massacre trilogy, and it's funny that this is a franchise that is all directed by women, Amy Jones, Deborah Brock, and Sally Madison. It's such a unique thing for an 80s slasher to have all three directed by women, which because, of course, it's usually just men directing this, so that is my first thing I really wanted to bring up. It's really fascinating that this is a trilogy all directed by women. And this trilogy is pretty straightforward as a slasher franchise. Like, they're just really straightforward slashers. The killer appears and tries to kill young women who are having slumber parties, but then the women fight back in a final girl trope way. But it's really awesome for the most part. Now, the first film from 1982 is a very low-budget slasher. The plot is the escaped mental patient Russ Thorne escapes and goes after Trish and her group of friends at a slumber party. And what stands out for me in this first film is that the villain, Russ Thorne, he is this really normal-looking guy with no mask to hide his identity. It reminds me a lot of Final Exam, which is another slasher that was released a year earlier about a killer who looks normal and wears no mask at all and just starts killing people. And he's very memorable with his stare alone and his portable drill, which is such a great weapon for a villain in a horror movie. I really love the drill weapon, and of course that's used in 2 and 3 as well. But in this one, it's played so straightforward and so serious that it works very, very well. And also, while the killer in Final Exam is in the shadows, Russ Thorne gets a lot of screen time, which is really great. So the movie, of course, came out after Halloween 1978, which most movies replicated in the 1980s. As most slasher movies really use their basis on that and Friday the 13th. So, of course, this has a lot of obligatory homages to John Carpenter's Halloween. An escaped mental patient, point of views of watching characters walking in the street from a car driving, killer watching from outside the house, and babysitting are the obvious ones I noticed on this rewatch. Again, it's awesome that this is a slasher directed by women, and the women in this film are subtly different than other women characters of this time in the slasher genre. They are doing all the things that guys normally do, and rewatching this time I noticed those more than usual. They do a lot of things that guys normally do, and nobody says anything about it, like they're playing sports and doing carpentry, and they are funny, and they all have memorable personalities and characteristics enough to stand out in the genre. Courtney in particular.
You did not. I hate you. I hate you. I'll get you for this.
Also, it's funny how scared the guys are in the situation where all the girls are way more prepared, which is another noticeable difference, like how they immediately are ready for this killer and the guys aren't. I also like the dreary but goofy score as well. It works in a lot of ways, and it makes it very memorable. The gore works at and gross out kills with the drill, which works well showing a lot of throat slits and impalements. It's definitely entertaining with the gore factor, and it works. And the ending with Russ getting slashed and hacked up is fantastic, and the effects and how good it feels to have these characters win makes the end of this movie really rewarding and pretty solid. I think the movie overall, the first Slumber Party Massacre, is a really solid, fun slasher with a really rewarding ending with a lot of fun moments. Slumber Party Massacre 2, released in 1987, was a further elaboration on horror and humor that was established in the 1982 first film. And I like how this one is a sequel to the first one, only in the continuing link of Courtney, the sister from the first movie. This one is a little different, with Courtney having nightmares of a killer that will eventually appear in the movie, as opposed to one that the characters in the first movie did not know of beforehand. And I love the music in this movie and the use of it. It's a lot of girls playing in a band, and we have this crazy killer who sings and plays using a guitar with a drill at the end of it, which works so well. Now, the movie takes a while to get to the killer actually killing anybody, but I do like these characters so much that I'm fine without it for a while. I did like these characters. I thought they were all fun and entertaining. And the nightmares that Courtney has are bizarre but really fun. There's one where she's attacked by a dead chicken, and then there's one like a pimple exploding, and there's just a lot of bloody kills in her dreams, and they all really are entertaining in how gross they are, or how silly they are, or just how memorable they are. It's very memorable in this movie. It's also funny to see two Friday the 13th alumni in the same movie. Sheila is played by Juliette Cummins, who played Robin in Friday the 13th Part 5: A New Beginning, and did 3 other slasher franchises in a row, which is Friday 5, Psycho 3, and then this, 1985, 1986, and 1987, which is really funny. And Sally is played by Heidi Kozak Haddad, and she appears the year after in Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, which again is so funny that you just have these couple of Friday the 13th alumni in this movie. Now, the driller killer, like Russ Thorn in the first movie, is the best thing about this movie for me. He's way different than Russ Thorn. He is a very eccentric, goofy, Elvis-like killer who dances around and chews the scenery, as opposed to Russ in the first movie where he's just silent type. I love to jam it to the floor. And those $1,000. He is one of the best slasher villains because he is such an entertaining character. Now on to Part 3 from 1990. This is a first watch. I've seen Slumber Party Massacre 1 and 2 before, and I really enjoyed them, and this is the first watch for Part 3. And for my first watch on this movie, I honestly didn't like this one. As opposed to the first two movies, which I really love and I think they're entertaining and fun, this one for some reason just didn't do it for me. I didn't care as much in the entertainment value of the third movie. I watched this one and I really couldn't find much to grip onto. I didn't really care for the entertaining factor of this one. I never thought that you could argue that the other movies aren't any different, but this one, in terms of entertainment value, I didn't find much entertainment value in Slumber Party Massacre 3. It's almost the same. It's played straight, more like the first movie again, where a group of girls are having a slumber party and a killer is using a drill, just like the first movie, but there's not as much charm or charisma in it, and also it feels so much more direct to video, if that makes sense. Like, it just, I don't know if it was. It might have been direct to video. I should have looked that up before I talked about this, but oh well. I think that it just didn't have the charm to it. It didn't even have a great amount of gore that I enjoyed either. Like, because these movies, you're looking for gore, or you're looking for, like, fun moments. And because we got a straightforward killer that isn't intimidating like Russ Thorn, and you have gore, but it's not, like, one that I remember any gore about, it's really not that entertaining to me. And it's really unfortunate. I really hate being a Debbie Downer, but, man, I didn't love this one. But I've still got the first two. I love the first two, but this one I think is just really not that great. It's really unmemorable. But that doesn't mean I can change. I might change and like that movie if I watch it again. I've only seen it one time. Maybe I was in a mood. I might watch it again and really like it. But as of now, if I had to rank these films, Slumber Party Massacre 3 would be dead last, then Slumber Party Massacre 1, and then Slumber Party Massacre 2 would be by number 1. And it's really no surprise there, because a lot of people love Slumber Party Massacre 2. I think it's just such a fun, entertaining movie. And I agree. I really love the first two movies. I'm glad I enjoyed watching this trilogy, even though I didn't really like the third one that much. I really did enjoy the trilogy overall. That is my thoughts on the Slumber Party Massacre trilogy, and thank you guys so much for watching.